and gamers rule the flow. From comic books to RPGs and every little thing in between. We break down tales of tech and lore, from retro games to future core. You'll hear the beat of passion's drum as every episode goes numb. Oh, it's a Nerdvolution ride, where trivia and laughs collide. Plug in your ears and take a trip with pop culture on a nerdy ship. Tales of tech and lore, from retro games to future core. You'll hear the beat of passion's drum as every episode goes numb. Oh, it's a Nerdvolution ride, where trivia and laughs collide. Plug in your ears and take a trip with pop culture on a nerdy ship. From sci-fi flicks to fantasy, we dive into each mystery. Dungeons crawl and dragons roar. In every episode there's more. So join us on this epic quest through fandoms that you love the best. We're here to bring the geeks unite in nerdy glory day and night. Oh, it's a Nerdvolution ride, where trivia and laughs collide. Plug in your ears and take a trip with pop culture on a nerdy ship.
Hi guys, welcome to the Nerdvolution podcast. I'm your host Todd Lancaster, and this is my co-host Ben. Hi Ben.
Hey Todd, how's it going?
Good, how are you? It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
I know, same here.
So, guys, Ben is actually working on a Flash fan film called. Do you want to tell us this, Ben?
Yeah, no problem. So the full name of the film is The Flash: Pursuit of Justice, Part 1, Speed City. This is planning to be the first part of a larger story. And it is a follow-up to our previous film, which was our proof of concept, The Flash Test Run.
All right. So let me pull up the questions I've had.
All right.
All right. So my first question that I'm just gonna get off right out of the bat. So from what I've seen on your Instagram and all your posts, like you guys have it where you are having Godspeed as the main villain. Why Godspeed?
I think Godspeed was, and I'll say this with all respect to the actors and the writers on the Flash TV show, I think Godspeed on the show was underutilized. I think in the later seasons of the TV show, I understand how they wanted to go for those like graphic novel type storylines rather than like full season arcs, but I think Godspeed is such a complex and interesting character that whether it ended up being August Hart or not in the show, which it ended up being August Hart, I think you could have spent a full season on Godspeed. So I really wanted to do a portrayal of Godspeed that really honored the character.
Which, okay, that works. And that is very fair. I like the Godspeed suit. I just wish they would have at least they made it where he's from the future. Okay, cool. Honestly, in my opinion, I feel like the TV show should have made it where he was a detective along with Nora. Because in the comics, from where you got some of your inspiration from, is he's a detective along with Bear.
Exactly.
And I feel like they should have done that. But okay. What inspired
I think that's a really I've honestly never thought of that because I know they changed it up making him in the future, but that would have been really cool to see him step into that detective role, even if it's in that future, seeing him work alongside Nora. That's a really cool idea. I've never thought of that before.
Exactly. Like instead of being the time criminal, him being him being her version of Eddie.
Yeah.
That would have been even more interesting.
That would be a good parallel. For a while, I know they thought that Godspeed was going to be a version of Eddie for a while. I know when they first teased him in the show. So yeah, that would have been interesting.
Exactly. So what inspired the creators and you as a writer to produce the Flash fan film?
I mean, I love the character of the Flash. I mean, I fell in love with the character ever since first watching Grant Gustin on Arrow, and then his own show. And I started discovering fan films as a sort of media, and I thought that was really cool. And I wanted to take this character, this that I love so much, who's so larger than life, but also really bring it down to a personal level. I think there's so much heart and humanity in Barry that the TV show does an excellent job of portraying, and I wanted to make my own version.
Fair enough. How did the team achieve the visual effects for Flash's speed? Because usually there's a lot of people that say that's like one of the hardest things to do is, okay, yeah, you can do mocap work or you can do, you know, oh, look, it looks like you show the person look like they're running like super slow, and
Hmm.
then you use green screen effects, or you have it where the person's actually just full on running, and then you do the effects. There's so many different ways. How did you guys come up with it?
So it was a little bit of a gamble because we had a very low budget. We only had one to film test run specifically. We only had one day to shoot. We only had one 12-hour shoot day. And I found this creator on Instagram, Sin Sky Edits, who did these incredible edits of films where he would place other characters within like other films. And then he also worked with a couple of Spider-Man cosplayers on their effects. So I had reached out to Sin Sky Edits and they said they would love to do it. Um, the two, I would say, bumps in the road were one, I had not seen Sin Sky Edits do any Flash special effects before. And two, we were only communicating through Instagram. But I sent Sin Sky Edits the script. They looked at it. They were like, okay, this is how you want to plan certain shots. And of course, there was a little bit of cheating on our end. We would just show someone running in and out rather than a full-on running scene, just because we didn't have the time and the budget to do that. But when Sin Sky Edits really like produced was incredible. It looked so real and it looked great even having the scenes where Barry would we have a specific wide shot of Barry running in, and even though it's not a full running, it's the lightning and you see the body still blur, and it was really incredible. I think a goal for Pursuit of Justice is to have a little more variety in the special effects with the running. I think we did a lot of running in and out of camera frame, whereas this maybe want to show some of that actual showing him run, or maybe everything is stopped and Barry is moving at normal speed when really he's just faster than everyone. So yeah, but Sin Sky Edits, I cannot recommend more. Super great to work with and did just such an incredible job.
All right. What challenges do the cast and crew face during the production?
Well, specifically on Test Run, it was, I mean, the two biggest challenges were budget, which affects every aspect. It affects how long you can film, how the costumes, the type of story you can tell. Um, so it was really budget and time because we had that short amount, that window to film Test Run. We only had that one day. We had a skeleton crew, we had a small cast, but what really helped us get through that was everyone was willing to jump in. We had the actors playing Mina and August, helping move camera equipment. We had our trickster in the film, calling for action at some points. It really was a team effort.
All right. So, how does this fan film portray Barry Allen that more than any others? Like like the actual Flash TV show where you have Grant, then you have the John
Mhm.
Wesley Shipp Barry, then you have Ezra Miller's Barry. Like
Mhm.
how does yours compare differently to those?
With our Barry, and I would say the closest adaptation is the Flash TV show, but we really wanted to show the team aspect. I mean, in the comics, it's like the Flash family, it's all of these speedsters. So what's really cool is while Barry is the most experienced one, he is training and working with a whole team of speedsters. And so it's really him having to teach and also face players that are on almost an equal level to him. He has more, yes, he got his powers first. He's got them a little longer, so that's why he is the leader. But really, it's not a situation where other people are powerless or he has someone behind the monitors or like, the man in the chair, as it's said. It's really a whole team effort. And Barry is juggling all of that, making sure that everyone is acting like a hero, is doing honorable
So
things.
basically, he's portraying more the Barry from the comics,
Exactly.
and like you said, like okay, he's he's struggling trying to keep it all together, and yes, he's had his powers longer, so it's basically like a real world job to him. In real world,
Exactly.
you have the people who've had the job longer and still have more experience, but
Mhm.
then ended up not ever like there's the new people that they get trained and they can become managers or even better than the others.
Exactly. And something in our specific story that is the same story to the comics is that Barry is sort of forced into this leadership role because of the Speed Force storm. So in our story, Barry has only had his powers for about a year and a half. So
Okay,
he's not that he's
he's not that
experienced, but he's not
seasoned.
that experienced. So yeah, he's almost making it up as he goes along a little bit. He does have that experience and he does has have that knowledge, but he's a little, I mean, as a lot of like teachers or coaches or managers like feel sometimes, I'm sure he feels a little lost and he's like, is he really up for this challenge of training the new generation?
Okay. What unique trials does the actor bring the role to the Flash?
Mhm. Well, I also play the Flash in the
Okay, so
film.
what trials do you bring?
Yeah. So I mean, I really want something that I love about Grant's portrayal and something that I think makes this character interesting is the humanity. So really, because the Flash is one of the most powerful superheroes, and there's that argument of, okay, well, if someone's so powerful, how do you make them interesting? And it's their humanity and their flaws, not necessarily in powers, but just like in personality. Barry sees the good in everyone. Barry, something that we really wanted to bring was Barry's fear of loss. He
Okay.
lost his mother, he lost his father. He lost in our version of the story. He's going, even though he gained a bunch of these new teammates, he's lost a lot of teammates in the past. Not necessarily, they didn't necessarily die.
They
Some
just moved
died,
on, moved away.
some moved on. Exactly. And we
Okay.
explore that a little bit with Killer Frost in our story. Why Killer Frost went away? How is that really affecting Barry? So he thinks he's made mistakes with some of these team members, and he doesn't want to make those mistakes again with August, which is a huge part of this plot. Like, how does he help August go through his trauma without letting it swallow him up too much and pushing him away?
Fair enough. All right. So one of the other questions is, um, so you obviously have Iris in the story. What motivates Iris to investigate journalism in your film, or unless she's already is, pursues her to investigate the crimes even more?
So Iris is actually I did struggle a little bit with if it was like there's so many of these great characters in The Flash, and I found in this specific film Iris didn't really fit. We
Okay.
have Barry's love interest being Patty Spivot in this,
Okay.
which, and down the line, we are definitely planning on introducing Iris if we are have the opportunity to make more films. And Barry does have history with Iris. I think something that is, at least in my portrayal, it's not, there's no lines, it's not really stated in the story, but in my portrayal, that sort of relationship with Iris and almost why that failed at that point is in like my character work.
Fair enough. So, like, how we said earlier. So, is Iris like one of the people, the teammates that Barry lost? Because think about it, Iris was his support when he lost his mom. She was his support when he lost his dad.
Mhm.
You know, she was his best friend growing. So to him, that
Yeah.
is his team. So did she just move away for journalism school? Ideal concept.
Yeah, it's I mean that's exactly the point. Like she went off to college and she is in a different city doing journalism and that
Living
that
for
was
Lois
before Barry
Lane.
got his yeah, exactly. Um maybe in the next film we'll have a little cameo. But
Yay!
yeah, Iris yeah, but Iris isn't there, and that's just another person Barry was close to and who he's lost, even though that had nothing to I mean, this was before Barry got his powers in our canon, but it still feeds that fear of losing people.
Exactly. So how does Godspeed's destruction impacts Speed City or the entire story?
Mhm.
Like how,
I mean, Godspeed, we wanted to, and this is where the help of my co-writer Juliet and our director Julian, who helped with some story edits, came in because I almost went a little too far with the death and destruction, and it was becoming a little bleak in the story, but we still kept a lot where Godspeed is just absolutely ruthless and just appears unstoppable and just wants and Godspeed's main goal in this film, in this overall film, is to wipe out all criminals, past, present, if they are showing potentially showing signs of being a criminal. Godspeed wants to wipe them out,
all right,
which isn't the way Barry does things.
exactly.
Mhm.
So what is Godspeed's ultimate goal with Central City? Because you have Eobard, his goal isn't mainly Central City, it's to torture Barry. Then you
Mhm.
have, people like the Trickster. It's to cause just mischief. He's basically
Yeah.
Barry's Joker.
Yeah.
Then, you have a few others, like, you have Killer Frost. She's trying to help create an ice age, from the comics wise, obviously. Then you have,
Yeah.
a few other people that like Zoom. He is there to just destroy Central City because
Mhm.
it shows him like Teddy Sears. Him and Tony Todd
Yeah.
did a perfect job on playing Zoom. And they're
Incredible.
like as even Hunter Zolomon stated in Flash, you are basically me, Barry. If Barry
Mhm.
was to go dark, he would become Hunter Zolomon, basically.
Oh,
And
totally.
so all it would be is, okay, well, Hunter Zolomon is basically saying, Barry's life is too perfect. Like his Central City's too dark.
Yeah.
It is basically the Gotham in his universe. Then you
Yeah.
have Barry's Central City, which is, sunshine, rainbows. He just wants to cause so much destruction to make Barry become more like him. So
Oh, yeah.
what is Godspeed's intentions?
I mean, Godspeed's is really to wipe out all kinds of crime. And without spoiling too much about our version, Godspeed and Barry have similar aspects of their past. And really similar to what Zoom was, our Godspeed is maybe not necessarily a reflection of Barry, but what Barry could have turned into if Barry decides to go for vengeance or like the idea of this like darker, more destructive kind of justice. So
Okay.
what Godspeed thinks they are doing the right thing throughout
Yeah.
the entire film.
All right. So my next question is, how does Barry grow as a hero or just as a person throughout the film?
There are a couple of ways, and it's it's interesting because they almost counteract each other as I'm thinking about it. But one is Barry learns to see people for a little more for who they are, and almost be willing to make those tough decisions in order to, even though he could potentially push people away and lose people. On the other hand, specifically with our Killer Frost storyline, it's he is learning to trust and forgive more.
All
So
right,
it's kind of both sides of that coin, but in these different situations. I would say overall, it's very learning to take more risks, whether that is potentially pushing someone away or allowing someone to come back into his
all
life.
all right. So if you guys can produce more episodes, do you guys think you'll ever have, movies where you have it as the Justice League show up, like team ups and all that?
That would be really cool. We did at the end of our of test run, we did have a Batman appearance. That was due to our director of that film. He had directed a Batman fan film, so we wanted to sort of
Right,
honor
yeah.
that. Yeah. I think if we were to make more films, I would say maybe we would drop hints and just like show that this is a larger world, but still really focus in on the Flash storyline. Because specifically for or Pursuit of Justice, if we are able to make that full film, we do have some follow-ups written.
All right.
It's a make a whole little series, but I would not definitely not be opposed for some team ups.
So my big question is where's your guys' filming location at? Like, is it just, you guys do certain cities, like, here, there, or is it one specific area, like city?
So we are based in New York City, and we primarily film in Queens, New York, which going back to an earlier question you had about a challenge, something that I honestly had not thought about, but our director of photography, Jim, really brought up, which was such a great point. We need to avoid New York landmarks, especially because we are on Queens. We were filming by the water, but if you see the Statue of Liberty in the background or the Empire State Building, it's like, oh, that's New York.
Yeah.
So we are filming in New York, but it's not set in New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Honestly, I had an idea if you would like to hear it. Basically, have it where there's one scene where Barry's running, like, still like obviously he's still discovering his speed, right?
Hmm.
Basically make it where Barry's running and then just, make the pan shot show it where like when he stops, it shows him looking up at the Statue of Liberty and he's like, ah crap, I went too far.
That's a good point too. But I mean, that honestly, I might take that. That's a really good,
You're
yeah.
welcome.
You'll
Well,
get a special thing.
exactly. Like think about it. But Barry goes he's like I said, he's still learning his speed. So, he doesn't
Mhm.
know how fast he can go. He doesn't know how like if it will ever run out.
Yeah,
Because let's be honest, like think about it. You hear the word unlimited supply, you're thinking, okay, it's never gonna end. But
yeah,
and basically that's what Barry could be. It's like, okay, people think that with the Flash, but let's be honest, there's been multiple times where Barry's lost his speed.
yeah. He's run out.
Exactly. But so my other question is, what is your hope and ambition for this fan film?
I mean, the first hope is that we're able to make the entirety of it. And I will say, I keep going back to this challenges question, but obviously a
You're
big
good.
challenge is crowdfunding. Um, and the original plan was to make the full film, and based on how crowdfunding is going, and I was thinking, okay, what if we just made part of it? And that's sort of where Speed City came from. So Speed City is only the first fourth of this script. So we're hoping we can create that, produce it, put it out into the world. It gets a following. People are really vibing with it. People want to see more, and then we are able to raise funds to make the rest of the film.
All right. I know I want to
Just,
see it,
yeah, thank you.
but of course. So do you plan on introducing other members of, the Flash family, like Kid Flash at all, Impulse eventually? Or is it
Uh,
just going to be focused on Barry right now?
um, I will say yes. It's specifically in the main speedsters who are not Godspeed, obviously, the me
Yeah.
members of Barry's team in this film are going to be August, who we've given the name Pursuit, even though we know in the comics Patty Spivot is Pursuit, but we realized August Hart doesn't have a superhero name.
Yeah.
Um, and then we have Mina Darwin, who's Fast Track, and then we have Avery Ho. So those are our like four main like good speedsters, part of Team
Yeah.
Flash. And I think in the future we do have plans to for like Kid Quick and Kid Flash to come in as well. So we do
All
want to
right.
expand.
All right. Honestly, if you would like another idea, if you ever decide to change, August from being Pursuit, try
Mhm.
Velocity.
Oh, that's a good name too. Yeah,
Yeah, because
that
think
is a
about it.
really good name.
Thank you. Because like right now, I am working on a Flash. Like I don't know if you ever saw the last episode that we did for the podcast where we interviewed Damien.
I know that was such a great interview. It was so great that Damien could come on.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. But
Yeah.
honestly, I told him about like all these fan films and fan fictions, and like as you heard him say, keep doing what you're doing, keep pursuing
Yeah.
your dream, and it will happen. And as long as it makes you happy, keep going. So,
Mhm.
and honestly, I'm working right now on one where turns out Barry got still gets exposed by the particle accelerator explosion, and he has his super speed. But right now, I'm on like I'm still on the first chapter where he wakes up in the hospital because it turns out he was drunk. He broke into the university lab because he got rejected from joining the CSI.
Oh,
And
oh my God, that's
so,
awesome.
think about it, he's having the anger because again, the CSI was supposed to help him help his dad.
Hmm.
That's the whole point of the CSI. That's the only reason
Yeah.
he got the job is so he could help his dad.
Yeah.
Think about it. Now, in his eyes, his dream's tarnished.
Hmm.
So I'm
That's
working.
yeah.
I have a scene. I'm working on the scene where he find like he's walking like he left Central, like he walked out of Central City, but he decides
Hmm.
he wants to go back, but he doesn't want to go back to Jones. So he's gonna start living in the underground, working his way up to becoming Goldface's right hand man. But
Oh.
besides being known as the chemist, like when he decides to try to do good, even though he's still technically mugging people, he's
Hmm.
gonna use the name Velocity.
Oh, that's really great. I love that spin. It's such a different take, and I really like that. Is it
Thank
going to
you.
be? Is it planning on being a like a movie or a mini series or
So, like once I'm done writing it, I want it as a movie, but if it works as a miniseries, then that's even better.
that would be awesome. I would love. I mean, if you're, I would love to read it if whenever it's ready.
Of course. So my other questions are, you know, okay, you as you stated, you're playing Flash. Is
Hmm.
there anything that you incorporated of your own personal life into, Barry?
That's. I wouldn't say anything specific. I think whenever you are playing a character, you always it's not even put yourself into it. I had an acting teacher who said this really great thing because you're told like, oh, you've got to put yourself into the character. Whereas they saw it as you are like the outline. You are like the
You're their outer
border
shell.
of this, and you're exactly, yeah, you're that, and then you're filling the like empty spots with the character. So while I'm not necessarily bringing anything personal into my life, from my life into this film, there's of course going to be aspects of me and my mannerisms and how I would react to certain things.
All right. So is there going to be other rogues in the film at all? Like, Heat Wave, Captain Cold, Top, you already mentioned Trickster.
Mhm. Not in this one. We originally were gonna have Trickster come back for this one. And then unfortunately Quinn, the actor who played Trickster, who's incredible, absolutely incredible. And this is the reason why he couldn't come back is because scheduling. He is just booking so many projects, and we cannot be more proud of him. Um, so for this one right now, it's going to be Godspeed and Black Hole,
Okay.
the organization. There are plans for the rogues in other films. Some I can tell you right now that we want to include. We do want to include Captain Cold, Weather Witch, Weather Wizard, uh, Paradox, who is a lesser known character from the comics.
I know who Paradox is.
Awesome. Yeah, and definitely more. So we are excited by the potential of making more films.
Is there at least any references to them?
There are references to them because, no, I will say some of them, because this isn't really a spoiler, but so the Speed Force storm that kicks off this story was caused by Weather Witch and Reverse Flash. So while they
Okay.
do not appear in the film, there is because Barry obviously defeated them, there is a lot of reference to them.
All right. Honestly, that's a very interesting take if I say so myself.
Yeah, because I know in the comics it was Black Hole who created the Speed Force storm, but we wanted to make it a little more
Personal to Barry.
personal, exactly, personal to Barry, and I can't really say much more without spoiling it, but
That's
it's
fair.
with the reason we picked Weather Witch and Reverse Flash, it's very specific to multiple characters in our film.
All right. So, you've mentioned that you are trying to build up funds. Where can people go for the funds? Like to, donate.
They can go to our Indiegogo. If they look up The Flash, Pursuit of Justice Part 1, Speed City on Google or Indiegogo, which should show up, or they can go to our Instagram, which is Flash Fan Film, and the link is in our bio.
All right. Is is there any hopes and dreams besides, obviously it being a huge success? Is there any hopes and dreams that you could share with other people that want to make fan films?
I mean, I would say the best part about fan films is you have such a variety of them. And similar to what Damien said, like as long as it makes you happy, keep doing it. Because you have fan films that are huge that have gone to festivals, like the Batman Beyond one, and you have some festivals, or you have, sorry, some fan films that people film in the backyard, and both of those are valid because they're creating art that you love, that they love, and that they know our people are going to love as well.
Have you so I also saw on your guys' Instagram that you guys posted test run in some fan films. You want to tell us about that so real quick?
hmm Yeah, so test run was our proof of concept, which the original idea was to produce Pursuit of Justice as a whole. I was talking to directors and producers, and they were saying, "This is such a large scale project. This is your first one. Maybe try cutting the story down," which I didn't necessarily want to do. I didn't want to take this whole story and sort of put into just like a smaller bit. So I decided to write this prologue and proof of concept, which is what Test Run became. It was literally a test run. So we can introduce all of these characters, introduce our versions of the world. And people responded to it pretty well, and it got into a couple of festivals, even won some awards. So
Well, congrats
we
on those.
definitely, thank you.
You're welcome.
And we definitely wouldn't be where we are today without that one. And the cast and crew was just so incredible that they wanted to come back for, if they're able to, based on availability, wanted to come back for Pursuit of Justice.
All right. So, do you have a favorite Rogues member?
That's tough. I would say, I mean, Weather Wizard is great.
Yeah.
I am partial to the speedsters. I do love Zoom and Reverse Flash, but I think if we're staying away from the speedsters, because those are, I mean, it's hard not to love those.
Exactly.
I would say probably Weather Wizard or Paradox would be my favorite Flash villains.
All right.
I was curious, what are yours?
So mine would be either Captain Cold, Heat Wave,
Mhm.
because Dominic Purcell and Wentworth Miller did a phenomenal job of portraying the characters.
So good.
It still blows my mind still to this day that every time I say Dominic Purcell's name, Miley Cyrus pops in my head because that is who he's her stepdad now.
Yeah,
It's weird because like every time I bring up to a few of my friends, I was like, oh yeah, I'm watching the Flash. I was like, yeah, I like that guy. Like, who that? Heat Wave. I'm like, yeah. Well, why do you like him? I was like, well, first of all, he's Heat Wave. He messes with fire.
yeah.
And I was like, plus, you have to watch Legends to understand his character growth,
Hmm.
which
Totally.
fair. And they're like, okay. They're like, well, why else do you like him? I was like, well, okay, you watched the movie Blade with me, right? They're like, yeah. I was like, okay, you seen the third Blade movie? They're like, well, yeah. I was like, okay, you know Dracula. They're like, obviously. It's like he plays Dracula. They're like, wait, what?
I know.
Well,
I just learned that, and that's so cool.
he played as Dracula. I'm like, and then I was like, oh yeah, by the way, you like Miley Cyrus? They're like, yeah, she's okay. Like, or some of my friends like, yeah, I love her. I love her music. I was like, yeah, that's her stepdad. They're like, wait, what?
It's such a small Hollywood is such a small world. You
Well,
never it
as long as
people
he's
are
happy, I'm happy for him.
exactly.
And but I like Captain Cold, Heat Wave, and I love Grodd.
Yeah, Grodd. Yes, I think Grodd is incredible. We would love to include Grodd at some point. I think that we would need to think of some very creative ways to do that because I think even if we get a lot of budgeting, creating a whole CGI gorilla would be extremely challenging.
I think that would take like most of your budget.
Exactly. We would not be able to pay any of our actors.
Just be like, hey guys, we're working for free. We're more focused on making Grodd work.
Exactly.
So if honestly, like another idea would be like, okay, you guys are working on like let's say you guys do work with Grodd. Have it where you guys go to the zoo and record where there's a gorilla from inside the cage and make it where focus on that one gorilla and make it where hey that one gorilla is Grodd and then make it where there's a news break where a gorilla escaped the zoo during the
Hmm.
flight and then make another reference to obviously again Weather Witch and Reverse Flash, with the Speed Force Storm, make it where one of the lightnings hits Grodd, and turns out that's how he got his powers.
Yeah, that's a really good idea too. And I think that's how, and maybe not that Speed Force Storm, but I think he gets his brain, his like telepathy and everything from the Speed Force, which I think is why he wants to fight the Flash to keep getting more power.
From what I remember, that I believe that is correct, but obviously we'll
Yeah.
look into it.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if is there a way that people can contact you guys? You know,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the best way is to DM us at Flash Fan Film on Instagram. Please, if you have any questions about the film or just want to say hi, we're more than happy to talk about it. I mean, the team as a whole loves this film and is so passionate about it, and we love talking about it. So yeah, please feel free to reach out. Instagram, I would say, would be the best way.
all right. Well, I have no more questions. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I think I'm good. I mean, I guess just thank you so much for having me on. This was incredible, and I hope that I can come on again in the future.
Of course, we'd love to have you on. And
Awesome.
maybe when we do, because I talked to Damien about it, we plan on doing a tier list of the rogues. We might have Damien on, so who knows? We might have you on join us with that,
I would love that. I would love to rank the rogues, and I would also love to meet Damien.
of course. And we're also doing coming up when Superman and Lois ends. We're planning on doing a because it was Drew's idea, and like
Hmm.
I said, Drew couldn't be here, but you know. we plan on doing a ranking of the Arrowverse women and doing like a 10-part episode. Obviously it's going to be more, but we're going to
Hmm.
have it where we introduce, like we'll start with like the very first episode of Arrow. You meet Thea, Willa Holland.
Yeah.
we're gonna put her in a tier. We're gonna talk about her character from in the comics, even though because let's be honest, she's a brand new character.
Yeah,
But some of her,
a great character.
of course, and some of her characteristics come from Mia Dearden. So we're gonna talk about Mia Dearden twice at least, because Mia Queen, and because that's where she's also coming from. That's where her name came from. And then
Exactly.
you
Yeah.
got Speedy, aka the second Speedy, which is Mia Dearden.
Mhm.
But you got Thea Queen, which is that aspect. So
Yes,
you have
all of those
those.
characters.
Exactly, and they're both separate parts of Mia Dearden's character, but we're gonna talk about it and then rate them. And if you'd like, we could have you join us for that too.
That would be great. Yeah, if I'm free, I would love to join too.
All right. Well, that's all for everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And please go check out the Flash fan film, The Flash, Pursuit of Justice Part 1, right? Did I say right?
Yes. Part
Yay.
one. Yeah, it's a mouthful.
Yes,
The Flash
it is.
Pursuit of Justice, Part 1, Speed City.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Hey everyone, my name is Ben David Feldman, and I'm one of the writers, producers, and actors in The Flash Pursuit of Justice. Pursuit of Justice is a follow-up to our previous film, The Flash Test Run, which introduced audiences to our versions of Barry Allen, aka The Flash, Mina Darwin, August Hart, and Avery Howe. Based on the comic book storyline Lightning Strikes Twice, Pursuit of Justice invites audiences to view a more epic, bigger story. To tell you more about it is our director, Julian Santos.
Hi, my name is Julian, and I'm the director of The Flash, Pursuit of Justice. We're very excited to bring you a tale where the Flash faces down against Godspeed, one of the hardest villains he's ever fought, who is killing speedsters all around Central City. As a director, I want to bring a noir atmosphere to this story, in the vein of one of my favorite TV shows, The X-Files, or one of my favorite superhero movies, The Batman. We hope that we will create an experience that leaves you on the edge of your seat and questioning who the killer could be. Because, of course, it's a bit of a murder mystery, a bit of a thriller, but 100% a Flash story.
In order to make this ambitious film a reality, we need your support. Every donation, no matter how small, would be a tremendous help. And if you can't donate, that's okay too. You can share this campaign with your family and friends, or follow us on Instagram at FlashFanFilm.
I hope you can consider supporting us. Anything you can do will help. There have been many memorable Flash stories told over the years, and we hope to be one of them with your support.
The light goes dark, the episode's done, but the nerdy vibes have just begun. We dissected plots and characters too, from Marvel to DC and all we love true. Nervolution signing off the air. Thanks for joining, we'll be back. Fandoms unite, we take our stand. Debates and laughs and geeky delight. Tune in next time, day or night. Star Wars to Star Trek, we explore the realms of fantasy and sci-fi galore. Gaming, comics, and anime too. Our passions ignite, our hearts renew. Nervolution signing off the air. Thanks for joining, we'll be back. Fandoms unite, we take our stand. Debates and laughs and geeky delight. Tune in next time, day or night. Out, debated with flair, embracing diversity hand in hand. From classic tales to new releases too, our love for nerdom shines right through. From cosplay to conventions we thrive, community strong, our spirit survives. We share, we discuss, we create and play in the world of nerdom every single day. Nervolution signing off the air. Thanks for joining, we'll be back. Fandoms unite, we take our stand. Debates and laughs and geeky delight. Tune in next time, day or night. There's more